I'ma say it. I called it, motherfuckers. Against my better judgment, I bought WWE 2K20. Let's talk about it for a little bit. What's going on, guys? J.Bandicoot here, back with another video, and I put out a video a little while ago talking about WWE2K20 and my concerns with it. Now, this was before the release, and this video was entitled Why I Won't Be Getting WWE 2K20 Day 1. I'll probably put an iCard up there at the top right for you to click on if you want to get caught up on my feelings, but this was coming from a guy who had bought nearly every other WWE video game Day 1 in his entire life. I mean, excluding childhood with the SmackDown vs. Raw series, but eventually I got my hands on those games within, weeks of them releasing. And this is the first time in my memory that I've put off buying a new WWE game, and I ended up buying it. The Deluxe Edition that released for, I believe, $80, $80 or $90? For $18 on the PlayStation Store on the 215th day of release. So I didn't buy it day 1, but I bought it on day 215. And I'll it was against my better judgment, it was against my fiance's better judgment, because she literally said, "Isn't that the screwed up game that you were talking to me about?" And it was. But it's not as messed up as it was on launch. It's still messed up. So let's take a look at how WWE 2K20 holds up in May of 2020. So first off, let's talk about the game-breaking bugs and just the crashes and the stable nature of the game now compared to its release. When it released, oh my god, you could not play it. I distinctly remember being on Twitch that night when it released because I was so intrigued as to people's first reactions of the game. I tried 3 different live streams and only one of them was able to actually get into the game, and they were crashing when they were adjusting their character in the creation suite. So the game has come a long way. You can play it. You can actually play the game now. Sure, I've still, in the 4 or 5 days I've had the game, experienced probably 2 or 3 crashes per day. But that's a lot better considering the state at which the game was released. It still sucks that every single day you play the game, it seems like the game crashes. But it's a lot better than what it was. The visual effects have not been fixed. I've seen bug reports and patch notes from the developers and 2K and whatnot, claiming that they've been fixing visual issues and graphical bugs. I do not know what the hell they're talking about because the hair physics still look absolutely atrocious, and my fiance can't even watch me play the game because she says it bothers her so much. I fight through it because the gameplay is at least decent, and I love playing as as heavy machinery, and this is the only way I can do that. So, give and take. But the graphics still not fixed. It's not that big of a deal for me personally, but I know that is a big deal for a lot of people. So let's go into my concerns in that video that I released first off. So let's talk about first the career mode. I was worried about the career mode. Basically, the state of career mode in the past few WWE outings have been hit or miss in the slightest. We had WWE 2K16 with its first outing, which was alright. Then you had 2K17, which built off of it. Then 2K18s fell off a cliff. 2K19s took massive steps forward. And 2K20s is just kind of mediocre. I mean, it's great that you can play as both male and female superstars, and Red and Trey, and switch those. The female is Red, the male is Trey, but Trey looks like a damn fool throughout the entire thing, and Red kind of feels like a simple Becky Lynch ripoff. I mean, especially her name, Red, and just the fact that they have names, I understand it was for the story, but these are your characters, you know what I mean? If you don't want to name your characters Trey or Red, and you give the characters different names, it feels so weird. I mean, they kind of danced around that idea in 2K19 with Buzz, but that was just kind of, his nickname given to him by the WWE Universe because of the buzz that he created on social media throughout that My Career mode. Red and Buzz just kind of sounds okay. Like, it's not a great name, it's not a shitty name, but it's just kind of okay. But you have Trey and Red, right? I mean, it just kind of feels like a Pokemon game at the moment, you know? But Trey is a child. I love the jokes that he makes because it's my style of comedy. But just the actions that he does, it really... some of the stuff doesn't make sense to me. It really feels like Trey is just a bumbling idiot that just stumbles into championships and opportunities, when in reality, you have men and women who work so endlessly hard to get these opportunities and they're still stunted. I understand this is the video game universe and it's completely different from real life, but still, it's not an accurate representation, and I'll tell you why. Here's my second point. This game has so much trouble differentiating whether they want to choose real life or kayfabe as their setting for this game. In 2K19, they walked that tightrope flawlessly between it actually being just like real life, how things are run as a company and, you know, behind the curtain kind of things, and kayfabe. You know, you had that mix of producers telling you what to do, what matches you were going to have, what promos you were going to do, but there was that mix of, oh, this superstar screwed that up for you, so we need to do this and fix that. Or, you know, you can't just go off the rails like that and do what you want. You're lucky Vince McMahon thinks you got spunk, you know, or else you'd be out the door. That was great. But 2K20 just jumps off this line where it just jumps right into kayfabe. You know what I mean? And it's got that business back end to it that doesn't quite feel right. I mean, you are interacting with all of these people backstage. You acknowledge the existence of these producers and road agents and all of this stuff going on, but at the same time, it's all kayfabe. You know, you walk out to the ring and handcuff yourself to the ropes until you get a title match. That doesn't fly in real life WWE because security would be coming out and getting your ass. I just wish they would have picked the lane in that regard. Other than that, My Career was pretty fun. It's always fun to kind of play as your own character, go through their career and kind of see that story play out, and wrestle in fun matches with, you know, The Undertaker, and different environments too. That is something that I think worked incredibly well and is the strongest point in this game, is the 2K originals. And this is a high point for a lot of people as well, because it's just so much new and over-the-top content that we aren't used to seeing in the more simulated-oriented WWE 2K games. One of the areas that I'm most fond of in particular, and I'm trying not to go into many spoilers here, but there's an area in the story where you're in a feud with The Undertaker, and you go to a different area, similar to what you did in 2K19, because Broken Matt Hardy is kind of the same role in this game as he was in the last game, with you going through the plane and different dimensions of the multiverse and that sort of thing. And this whole arc leads to this ultimate showdown with The Undertaker, kind of in his home realm, which is phenomenal. I love that area. Oh my god, probably my favorite arena in any WWE 2K game, save for maybe some WrestleManias dotted here and there. But it was just such a great addition, a great original addition, and I feel like that needs, you know, some more love and some more support and, you know, more backing. My Career definitely isn't without its flaws, though, because there are some just very questionable things that happen, and it's all just little minute things that all add up to that rushed development time. There are some quests in My Career that are just not explained at all. There's one in particular that I remember that I thought was going to be just absolutely career-breaking, and this almost sent me over the edge, because this would have been the second year in a row that I wasn't able to complete the career mode because of a game-breaking glitch that wouldn't let me advance. Upon closer inspection, this wasn't the case, but I'll tell you about it here in a second. There's a storyline with you and the Velveteen Dream that ends up in a spotlight match, and what a spotlight match is to win the match, you have to perform your opponent's finisher. To perform your opponent's finisher, you need a payback ability called Move Thief, and the game doesn't tell you ahead of time that you need Move Thief to do this. The game doesn't tell you ahead of time what the spotlight match even is. It's kind of just thrown upon you. So with your character, you're able to select different payback abilities and set them with your character, and I didn't have the Move Thief ability at that time. So I was a bit confused as to whether or not I could actually complete the match. So I go into the pause menu to see, what attributes my superstar has, because I was reading online that it just gives you Move Thief for that match, but the payback list in the pause menu that dictates what moves you have, it doesn't say that you have Move Thief. It still says that you have the payback abilities that you assigned, and so that was super confusing to me, and I thought I was stuck. Turns out that the only indicator that you have the Move Thief payback ability is the little payback ability icon itself on your HUD, and that is so microscopically small that if you're not even looking for it, you're not gonna notice it, and so that's kind of the trap that I fell into, which was just kind of confusing to me. Another big issue that I had, and this wasn't terribly inconvenient, I mean, it was inconvenient at worst, but it wasn't the worst thing to happen in the world. I was in a backstage brawl, and sometimes in matches, they'll give you a list of objectives to do to advance in the story. So maybe, Irish whip your opponent in the ring, or get your opponent outside the ring near the bottom barricade and perform a strike. That sort of thing. In this instance, it was perform your finisher next to a dump truck. Okay, not hard, easy enough. So I bring my opponent into the parking lot, and to get my finisher, I had to do my signature first. So I do my signature in the parking lot, in the middle of the parking lot, away from the dump truck, and when I hit my signature, the game gives me a failure message saying, you needed to perform your finisher next to a dump truck. And I'm thinking, you didn't even give me the opportunity to do that. You know what I mean? And instead of giving me the mission fail screen, why not just let me hit my finisher? I mean, if you were to hit your finisher in the middle of the parking lot instead of next to the dump truck, why give an error message saying that you didn't do it next to the dump truck, and why not just let the player build their momentum back up, get another finisher, and then perform it next to the dump truck to, preserve game flow? Because giving me the error message made me restart the whole match, and I had to do 3 separate things before I had to get to this thing again. So that was kind of 10 to 15 minutes of my time wasted. Again, not the biggest deal in the world, but it's still just kind of, what the hell's going on here? There are still quite a few issues with universe mode as well, just basically quality of life features. I mean, the mode is still very much playable, I've been having a good time with it, but I've been noticing some just small things, little glitches that are just kinda, man, this game is unstable. For instance, when trying to create a tag team, there are some superstars that just don't show up in the list. I was trying to, make custom women's tag teams to increase the women's tag team division, and I was trying to make a team between Carmella and Lacey Evans, kinda similar personalities-ish. They could make a decent team, right? So I'm going through the list, and Carmella, so for background, both are signed to SmackDown in my universe. So I go to SmackDown, and I go to create tag teams and all that stuff, and I make I go to make the team, and Carmella's not in the list of available superstars they put in the tag team. I'm thinking, what? Okay, whatever. A little bit later, I was able to form a team with 2 other female superstars, Nia Jax, and who was the other? Anyway, Nia Jax is the important one. So I go back into the divisions to put them in the women's tag team division, and Nia Jax's partner isn't there. It's just Nia Jax in the list, so I'm like, okay, maybe if I select Nia Jax, it'll put her and her partner in the division. So I select Nia Jax and I save it, and Nia Jax now doesn't exist on the roster. She's gone from every division. She's gone from the participants. It's just so weird. It's a small thing, but it's just so weird. And this game is filled with small little weird things like that. For instance, in universe mode, if you have any other match type other than a singles match, just any regular match, where pinfalls, submissions, countouts, DQs, standard rules, if you have any match that differentiates from that formula, the win conditions don't change. And the most head-scratching time that this happened to me was when I was in a tables match with Daniel Bryan. And, I was just kind of goofing off, commentating to myself, like, oh, Daniel Bryan's gonna go through the table, and Bryan goes through the table, and I'm like, and nothing happened. Bryan goes through the table, I send him through the table, but nothing happened. About 3 minutes later, he hits the running knee on me, and he goes for a pin. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? Pins aren't allowed in tables matches, what? And the ref starts counting. And I'm thinking, what? When in history does a pinfall end a tables match? You know? And another instance of this was in a fatal 4-way match. No DQ, no countout, standard fatal 4-way rules. And I throw someone out, and the ref starts counting them out. And I'm thinking, how would this match end? Because I'm curious, I haven't actually seen how it would end if this guy was counted out with 3 other dudes in the ring. Who wins? You know what I mean? It's just these little things that pile up that make the game kind of frustrating, but it's still playable. And I use that term, but it is still playable. The controls, though, I have a major issue with. It might just be me not liking change, but for some godforsaken reason, 2K decided to mainstream the controls, and that's fine. But if you're gonna do that, actually mainstream the controls, because triangle is no longer a finisher. Triangle is now, I can't remember what triangle is. Triangle is the reverse button. Yeah. I don't know how that happened. And guess what is the finisher? X and square at the same time. It's no longer one button. Same with the OMG moments. It's triangle and circle, which, okay, that kind of reflects the finishing move. It just divides the button pad in half. Either you want to do your finisher or you want to do your OMG moment, and that's fine. Just do it coherently, man. Jeez. And I still don't understand the dragging mechanics of objects and how to pick them up and climb them. I mean, I understand them. I've done them fine, but the getting out of the ring button, the moving objects button, the setting objects up button, they're all like alternating buttons. Like, you have to hold R1, I believe, to get out of the ring on PS4, and then pick something up with L1, and then climb it with R1, and then reach with L1, and it's just so many alternating things with so many similar actions that it's just dedicate these things to one button like it used to be. L1 used to be everything. It used to be get out of the ring, grab an object, set that object up, climb it, reach the object. It all used to be L1, and now it's divided between the two, and you have no idea which one is which. They need to just nail it down. And I'm fine with trying to improve the controls, because controls are always something that you want to nail down. But in my opinion, 2K19 had pretty nice controls. Maybe reversals were a bit of a pain because the triggers are weighted, and so you had that little small delay. But it's not that big of a deal to go changing the entire scheme of it. So my final verdict on this game, because this video is getting a lot longer than I thought it would, it's pretty, I was gonna say pretty good. It's decent. It's a decent WWE game. It's not the best, but it's definitely, I'm gonna take back definitely. It's not the worst, in my opinion. For some people, it might be. If you're a big graphics person, it might be. If you're a big, just controls person, or just game flow person, or perfectionist, you might hate it, because there are a lot of times, even with the announcers screw up constantly. The commentators mess up constantly. It's just this giant flustercluck of small little things piling up, and we're already, I mean, gonna see the next WWE game in the form of WWE Battlegrounds this year, so I really wouldn't expect a lot more continued development on this game, which, I mean, I would say it's a shame, but it's really not. With the state that the game came out in, there was no saving it. With Ukes leaving halfway through and Visual Concepts not able to piece everything together, I completely get it. And none of this is trying to take aim at the developers for this, because it really boils down to WWE demanding the yearly releases, even though the team that had worked on these games for decades left halfway through this game's development. It seems like a lot of unnecessary shots are being fired at 2K, and I'm not saying that the blame should be totally shifted to WWE, but both parties are at fault here. So, final verdict. This game, for $18, if it gets discounted more, get it. $10, $15. It's for $10 or $15, it's quite a few hours of entertainment. It's definitely better than some, $20 shovelware games that you can find on PSN, I'm sure. But if you're a WWE fan and you really, really, really want to play with superstars that are featured here for the first time, I would say that the game is in a stable enough state for you to safely do so if you're willing to put up with the intermittent crashing or freezes or, the lackluster universe mode or what have you. If you're willing to put up with all of that and just have a good time with the newest WWE game, I'd recommend it. It's a decent enough game to play. I've been having a decent enough time with it between universe mode and my career and all of that stuff. And I mean, does it have its flaws? All of them. It has all the flaws. But we're getting a new fun game in October, and we've already seen information from WWE2K, from 2K itself, basically asking us what we would want to see from WWE2K20. So that's a good sign, and I'm very hopeful. So I hope that this whole experience was for the better for all of us. So with that being said, what do you guys think of the current state of WWE 2K20? And have you been along for the ride since its day one release? If so, how has your trajectory changed? Have you seen an improvement in the game over the last couple of months that you've been playing? Have you seen noticeable improvements? Or has it just kind of been gradually lost on you since it's been, a slight change here, a slight change there, an improvement here, an improvement there over a number of months, you know what I mean? So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that in the comments below. And of course, until next time, guys, peace. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and like if you want. And that's all I got. Take it easy, guys.